Well, hello everybody. Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove. We're out here at the shop. Me and Mr. Chris just got the electricity ran to the shop. We have lights now. We did the underground service. It was a long run underground, but we got it and we installed it ourselves. Instead of having the power company come and do it, we did it ourselves. And now I'm able to finish working in the shop here, which makes it so much easier to work on the FARMALL here. What I done was I took a survey of the tractor, and after surveying what happened to the FARMALL CUB, I determined that it flipped over backwards on this side over here and bent this fender in against the tire. The seat that was up here, the pedestal thing here, was mounted right here. And as I looked at it, I looked at this part right here, and I'm like, that's not factory right there. That's homemade. Somebody just cut and welded something there. And this thing is so crooked sitting on there. And plus, when I buy the toolbox to go on it, it won't fit on that. Because that's not factory. This thing is bent so bad. So once I looked at that, I said, okay, I knew when I seen the seat thing and the seat was gone off of it, I said, okay, it has definitely flipped over backwards. So I looked and I said, the rock shaft assembly's gone. More than likely, it bent the rock shaft assembly, so they took it off. And as I come around, I saw this particular portion of the gas tank sitting right here. This has been in right here, and somebody's been trying to fix it, which is on that side. And then I look down here where the brake shaft comes through, and this piece right here has been broken off, which would mean the brake shaft got pushed that way and it snapped that side of that off. So this tractor definitely flipped over. Now, I don't know the history of it. I don't know if somebody got hurt. I mean, I don't really care about all that part of it, but I just know now that I've got the tractor apart that it did flip over at some point. And the long rock shaft rod that went back here probably got bent because none of this was on the tractor. This thing right here was bent down, and I didn't realize it until just the other day when I was looking at it. And I took and bent it back up rather than trying to buy another one. I just bent it back up and kind of reshaped it and got it all back in where it goes. So that was bent down, which tells me when it flipped over, the downward pressure bent that down. So what I did was, and the battery box was all tore up on. This is a homemade battery box right here that was put on it. So I took the bolts out of the battery box and I took it off. And I said, okay, now what else do I need here? So I was like, I said, okay, bearing's gone in that. It's got up and down play in it. So the bearing's bad in that. I said, well, you know what? I don't know what everything looks like in there. So I surveyed the thing out. I said, okay, I need a parts list here. I need a battery box. I need a seat pedestal. I need a bearing seal assembly. But I said, you know what? Sometimes it's just as cheap to just buy the whole system to go in there out of a good tractor. So what I done was I said the gas cap I knew was wrong, had to be replaced. I knew the radiator cap was wrong. I knew it had to be replaced. And I knew when I get through with it, I'm going to need the stickers. I found out the rear oil seal's leaking in it after I fixed the clutch. So I said I was going to have a rear oil seal put in it when I break it in half in the future. And I'm going to have PTO bearings, PTO seals. Even though I ordered this from Bosch Tractor Company, I went ahead and ordered a whole new assembly off of a used tractor that was in good shape. Splines are all good, shaft's good, everything's in good shape. I went ahead and ordered a new bearing and a new PTO seal to go in it because, I mean, this one's okay, but I would rather, if I'm this far, I'm just going to take it apart, clean it up, and I'm going to replace this one with that, and then in time I will rebuild this one. So I went to Bosch Tractor Store, y'all. If you ever buy any parts for a Cub FARMALL, Mr. Brandon at Bosch Tractor is the guy to go to.
And spell Birch.
B-U-R-C-H. It's just Birch. I mean,
yeah.
Birch Tractor Company. This is what we were looking at here. See the difference in them here? This one is made where the battery box slides up over it, and there's a bolt through the battery box, goes into this right here and bolts the battery box to it. And this has adjustments, so you can move this thing backwards or you can move it forward on the tractor. Somebody just took a cutting torch and cut a hole here and washed out a hole there. They didn't even cut it. And then they just kind of welded up some pieces here and makeshift made it. Look at the difference. It's way shorter. Everything's just different about it. So I got Mr. Brandon to get me one of these off of a used tractor that fits right here. And this is where it lines up at like it's supposed to. And you can adjust it to all the way back to there, or if you're a short-legged person, you can go up to there. So I have this for the tractor now. I got to clean it up, get it painted. We now have this PTO shaft assembly. We're going to take it apart, clean it. I ordered a brand new battery box, which will sit right here. It'll go right on here and fit in the bolt holes that are originally, let me find them there. The bolt holes that are originally there. This is the lid that will go on it, like that. There's a hole in the frame over here. This hole in the frame there, there is a rod in here. This will go down through that, or I'll push it up through the bottom, and then a lock nut, a wing nut, will actually screw down and hold the top on it. The battery cables will come out of the side right here on it. Now back here, this part on it back here actually is made for the backup light bolts on it right here for your light that goes on the backup, which I don't have, which I will have to order and get one of those to put on it in the future. This is the new gas cap that goes on these. I'll have to paint it red. That replaces these here. These are a fire hazard. This gas cap right here, when the tractor's driving, these gas caps, they don't have a vent hole in the top of them. As this thing sloshes, when you're driving it, it builds up pressure in the tank and gas starts coming out around this and running down here. And the exhaust manifold's right here, and it's a fire hazard. So they have these now. These new ones have a vent hole in the top of it. Plus they're real deep and thick, and they made to fit on here and screw on there like that. That fits very tight on there. No gas comes out around it when you're using it. So this one will be put on there new. I will be painting it. I went ahead, because I don't know when the last time the oil was changed in it, I went ahead and ordered a new oil filter to go on it. This is the rear main crankshaft seal that goes in the back of the motor when I break it in half to put a new clutch and pressure plate. This one has the Cub FARMALLs. Certain years had different types of clutches in it. This one has what's called an Auburn clutch in it. It doesn't have any adjustments on it. So it doesn't have the nut with the bolt going down through it so you can adjust the fingers in and out on it. This Auburn one just has a bolt in it. And it's the throwout bearing and the pressure plates wore pretty bad in it. I doubt that because it's an Auburn, I doubt that it's ever been changed, because that's what originally came in these tractors on it. So when I get the money to get a clutch and pressure plate and throwout bearing, and probably even the rail system for the throwout bearing, then I will break this thing in half. And I wanted to have the rear main oil seal available so that I can put that in there. And when you get the rear main oil seal with it, you also need to get the gasket that goes on the plate that goes on the back of the engine to be able to change that rear oil seal there. And see, that's what I loved about Brandon. Brandon could walk me through everything I was needing to do. He could tell me exactly if I was 100% accurate on what I needed. Well, because I'm going to be replacing the PTO system on the back, this is the PTO gasket set that goes on the back there. So I had to have that. And well, if I have to break it in half, I like to go ahead and start purchasing things ahead of time. so that if I do decide to do it, this gasket right here goes right there, on that right there. Because when you break it in half, you got to undo this and slide that section forward to be able, and this is your hydraulic gasket right here. We had to have that. And then this here is the new PTO bearing and PTO seal to go in the back of the assembly that I got right yonder. So I got that here, so I can fix that. And this right here, little baby right here, is the one thing everybody takes off of this tractor, and for what reason in the world, I don't know. I have never bought a Cub or never been around a Cub that had one of these on them. You always have to buy them. And that's this little piece right here. This right here goes on the choke here on the back side of the carburetor up in there. It goes on that in there. And then there's a rod that goes from there, sticks all the way through the tractor, and comes out right up here that you pull to choke the tractor while you're sitting in the seat. I guess why everybody does it is because 99.9% or maybe even 100%, and I find myself guilty of it sometimes, is when we go to crank it, we do this right here. We put it in neutral. We check this, we take the key, and we reach right here, and we choke it by hand. You know, I guess that's why everybody takes them off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do have the rod. A subscriber sent me the rod for my other tractor, but before I knew he was going to send it to me, I had already got another one. So that one's kind of been in storage, and it's just perfect because now I need it for this tractor right here. That's just one of those things I told y'all. I've got tons of Cub parts that I've just come across, bought up, and everything. So I have the choke rod now. Now the only thing, I'm going to probably convert it back over to the starter where you pull the rod here. Somebody's taking the rod out here where you pull it to crank it, and they've switched it over to a key system. I don't like the key system, because you've got a starter relay and you've got all that stuff up in there, and it's just more electrical stuff to go wrong. I don't like that. I like this to be as simple as possible. Now, the battery cable, somebody has come in here and they switched it over 12 volt. They had the battery cable laying across all this here. They got it laying right in here, which is a good place for it vibrating to short out right there. It's run up in through here and all up under by the gas tank in there. That is not how this battery cable is supposed to be ran. That battery cable is supposed to come out, run right down here, go underneath the transmission right here, come up underneath the clutch pedal right here, come up underneath here to some brackets here that holds it, and goes over and drops in on top of the starter over here. I plan on purchasing a battery cable like goes on it and putting the original battery cable back on it. I mean, I have one laying over yonder, but it's very old, and the plastic around the outside of it's kind of brickly and crackling off in places, so I don't want to have to worry about something short. Now, one other thing I did do was I went ahead and ordered a complete gasket set for this decal set for the tractor to go on it, so that once I get through cleaning this whole tractor, getting everything down, repainting the whole tractor, I'll come in, you know, the FARMALL sign will go back on the sides of it, the emblem on the front, the things that goes on the PTO, the pieces that go here, pieces that go down here. I'll order a new light switch because I got to change out these old lights here, convert everything back over 12 volt lights on it. That's down the road, but I went ahead and ordered a decal set to go with it. I purchased a flapper the other day. I was at Tractor Supply, saw one in there, the last one they had. So I bought it, brought it home, put it on there. I said, you know what, that'll keep the rain from getting in there. Got that taken care of. It came with extra fan belts and alternator belts. I did have to change the carburetor. The carburetor that was on it, the gentleman told me that him and his son had worked on it and had fixed it where it would crank, and it was cranking. Y'all saw in the previous video it cranked, it ran good and everything. And I told you I was going to change out that old rubber gas line that was here. Well, guys, if you're going to do this, I custom build these gas lines myself. I go to the automotive store and you buy a 5/16 inch brake line, and I have the tubing cutters, I have tubing benders, flaring tools, I have all that stuff. I have figured out everything, every bend on this thing, and I custom bend them myself. And when I replaced the fuel bowl on it, the gentleman told me the fuel bowl was leaking. I said, you know what, I'm not going to worry with it. I just went and bought a new one. I took the old one out, got to looking, and he had taken the screen out of the fuel bowl. And I said, uh-oh. When I saw that, I said, carburetor's going to be full of trash. So I said, but it was running good, you know. So when I pulled the fuel line off, he had on here, right inside there where you go into the float needle, that wasn't nothing but trash, just piled and packed all in there. Well, I tried to dig it out the best as I could. I did that, and I put the new fuel line on here, on the old carburetor he had on here, and when I turned the gas on to it, gas just started, and I cranked it up, gas started pouring out around where the gasket is, and I got to looking, there wasn't even a gasket in it. So I was like, this ain't gonna work. So I had an old IH carburetor that I had bought the kit for and rebuilt and put in my storage so that in the future, if I ever needed one, I would have it. Well, I went to my storage, got the old carburetor out. It's had the new kit put in it. I brought it, bolted it on here, put the new gas line on it, turned the gas on, cranked it up, fired right off. All right, so I did order one more thing for this tractor. And this is pretty expensive. I didn't realize these are very hard to find. That is the original seat to go back on these tractors. To find an original, these things are quite pricey. And to find one that's not all rusted out, that was the thing. This one, I've got to get the sandblasting done to it and get it all cleaned up and repainted like new. And I'll get a cushion system for it a little bit later. But this baby right here was hard to find and quite pricey, even in the shape.
But you're not going to have to sit on the pedestal.
But I don't have to sit on the pedestal no more. So that'll be another project there, getting that thing all cleaned up. I'll probably have to take a hand grinder and go down and grind it all back down like it needs to be. And I probably in the future will get a steering wheel because it doesn't have any cover left on it. Somebody took a steering wheel cover and just tied it and wrapped it around it as tight as they could, like they cut it to length and wrapped it around it so you wouldn't be just holding on to a steel rod turning around. So I'll probably get another steering wheel in the future there. So, and I do have, it hasn't come in yet, but I do have the rock shaft rod that goes from here to here coming. Now, I did run into something here. Let me show you something. I did not know this. This was the rock shaft assembly that was on my old Cub tractor that I just rebuilt. It sat up here just like this. Well, when I saw it, and I saw how it was made here, I said, that ain't right. So I ordered a new one to go on my tractor. I said, all this angle iron in here, and I said, this just don't look, all this here system made like this with the 3 holes in it. I said, that somebody has jerry-rigged that thing, you know. I said, that ain't right. So when I went to Bosch Tractor Company, you can go to their graveyard and you can look at all the Cub tractors sitting in their graveyard and see if there's parts there that you might need for your tractor. And then you can call Brandon and tell him, look, I saw this on a tractor in your graveyard. Guys, when I was looking through the graveyard, I saw this setup on several tractors. And I said, that's not a homemade deal. That's actually made that way. And come to find out, the best of my knowledge, now I could be wrong, but as I looked through the graveyard, I noticed tractors that did not have the hydraulic systems on them and had the big rod here that you pull stuff up and down, let the plows up and down with. They had 2 bolts right here. These 2 bolts had a piece that went in here to the fender right here, and that big ratchet system went over here that picked the plows up and down. So evidently this tractor the rock shaft assembly got messed up, and this is the only one someone could find to replace it with, so they put one of these years and years and years ago on there. So I'm going to put this one, rather than spending several $100s to buy another one. This one was working fine on my Cub. I was just trying to make my Cub what I thought original, when technically this was original, just not for that tractor. But I'm not that picky about this one. So I'm going to put this one back on here, and we'll refinish it, and we'll make it work. And Mr. Keith, one of our subscribers, had already sent me some Cub parts a year ago. And in those Cub parts just happened to be the top link for the rock shaft assembly. This goes on this right here, so that when you lift it up and down, you have two rods on it that goes on each side back here like this. This one goes down and picks this side up. There's one that goes over here that picks that side up. Mr. Keith had already sent me one of these, so I did not have to order that part from Mr. Brandon. So now, guys, it's just a matter of me getting in here and starting the process of cleaning stuff up, repainting it, taking this PTO assembly out of the back of the tractor here, taking this one over to the table, take it all to pieces, clean and repaint everything in it, put new bearings, new seals in it, and putting new gaskets on this, putting it back into the tractor, and just start cleaning the stuff up, putting it back together. Now, I am going to break it in half eventually, just not right now. This was a small investment to get all these parts here. Well, it was a large investment. It wasn't a small investment. It was a large investment to get all these parts that I got. Once I recoup from that, I will order a few more things to go on it. One is going to be, I'm going to have some tires for the back of it. I'm going to have wheel weights, things like that. And I'll have to take each individual tire off. I'll have to sandblast all the rims, clean them all back up, because the rim's in pretty good shape. Now, what I did do was this tire right here that was on the tractor. This is mine, one I had, and it has the valve stems all rusted out around right in here. But the one that was on the tractor, the rim was turned around backwards because somebody put the tread on the tire, on the rim, wrong. And they turned the rim around, and the width didn't match up with the front wheel here. The tire was sitting almost right against the fender right here. And I noticed that, and I said, that's wrong. So I jacked the tractor up, took that one off, took it up to the barn. This one was sitting up there. And this one will do until I get that rim repainted, cleaned up, and a new tire put on it in the right direction, and come back and put it on here and replace. This is just my spare I keep hanging around here in case I have a problem with my tractor. And I'll be doing the same thing over there. Now, it did have, somebody put brand new tires on the front. These are brand new right there. New tires and tubes on the front of it on both sides. So those tires and tubes don't need replacing. I took the other day, the tie rod ends had a lot of slack in them. And I realized you have an adjustment on the end here, and I turned them down and tightened them down on this one and this one, and I got rid of all that slack in here. Now, there's a little wear in this right here on one side there, but this one's good and tight. And then I realized one of these bolts wasn't good and tight, and the wheels was wobbling a little bit, so I tightened that up, and I'm like, I jacked it up, wheel bearings seemed to be good. I'm like, that's good, you know. So we don't have to possibly fool with that. Now, this right here is the original screen that's in it, but somebody's ran into a bunch of stuff here and kind of done it up. I may, in the future, try to go ahead and find me another one of them to replace that one with. Now, that's original. This is I pulled the VIN number right here. It has a serial number on the motor right here, on the frame. Now, if this frame is original to this tractor, And I'm going to be honest with you, I do have my doubts. But if it is, then this, according to the serial number, is a 1952 model FARMALL CUB. Now, the only thing that makes me think that this is not original is I have the original owner's manuals to these tractors. And in the original owner's manuals, it tells you serial numbers from such and such to such and such, and it tells you everything about those tractors between those serial numbers. And when I looked at this serial number, I realized that the Auburn clutch was not used in those serial numbers. That particular clutch was used in an earlier model tractor with an earlier model VIN number and or serial number. Now, I keep thinking everything now is VIN numbers. That was a serial number. That Auburn clutch was not used in this. This tractor was advertised as a 1949 FARMALL CUB. That VIN number or serial number says it's a 1952 model. So according to the original owner's manuals. It's one of those things when you get these old tractors, you kind of got to play it by ear when you go to get parts for it. You kind of got to look at the part, and you got to have the original books like I do. You kind of got to have the original manuals for these tractors. Now, we ordered ours off of Amazon. You can order the original manuals off of there. They're reprints. I say original. They're reprints of the originals. And you can look at all the serial numbers and stuff like that, and you can tell exactly which tractor is which. You can tell what went with this tractor equipment-wise, what did not come with certain year models and stuff like that. Some of them actually came with 12 volts. When you got into later models, they actually came in 12 volts and not all 6 volts and stuff like that. But when you go to getting parts for them, you kind of got to just play it by ear and look at it and look at the book and check the numbers and say, okay, was this on this year model tractor or was it on that year model tractor based off of the serial number? Because lots of people, the radiator is part of the front housing, and sometimes people didn't put antifreeze in them and they froze and busted the front housings, and they couldn't find the originals, and they would buy one and it would have the plate from another tractor on it, and so you don't know what year model you're getting. So just keep that in mind. I like to just share these things with people. Guys, I have all the other parts that goes on here and on everything. You know, I have all that. Not worried about that. My biggest issue now is just get this baby cleaned up. Let's get it wired right. Let's get it put back together. Let's get a clutch system put in. Let's get this baby where it's field ready. And then I will put all the stickers on it once it's repainted. I'll put I'll go back and put all the new light systems on, 12-volt light systems and everything. And we'll set this baby up where it looks like a brand new one again. And with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity, because this video will probably come out on Father's Day, to wish everybody a happy Father's Day. Lots of people out there have lost their dads. I've lost mine. Wanda's lost her father. You don't really realize how important your father is and the wisdom that they share many times until you don't have them to ask something. Now, right now at this point in my life, my dad had a Cub tractor when I was 10 and 12 years old. You don't know how many times I went to work on this tractor and said, man, if I had my dad, this is what he had. And I could say, Dad, can you tell me what about this or what about that? Because my dad was mechanic. And it just, you miss that. You don't realize it till you don't have it. So happy Father's Day to everybody. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove. It's hot.
What do you think about the hush puppies?
Hush puppies look pretty.
I wonder what they taste like. And this one of our catfish that you and Maggie caught. They do good with the hush puppies.
Done real good with the hush puppies. Made with Danny corn?
Yep. And the batter on the fish is with Danny corn.
Oh, man.
And then you have
I got stewed squash.
with onions and peppers in them.
It's hot, too. You can look at it and tell.
And then you've got steamed
Cherokee yellow wax beans.
I don't know what the fish tastes like.
Squashes. Really good.
Maybe pretty hot.
Check this fish out.
See if I can fry fish.
Pretty hot.
I knew it was hot.
No fishy taste. Just like it. I mean,
I love our catfish.
it's just good. I mean, it's just good. It's got Danny cornmeal on it. Yeah.
So basically, the majority of this meal came from our place.
The lard you cooked it in was our pig.
True.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper I didn't buy. You know, I had to buy whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's your... Yeah.
And the eggs were our eggs in the hush puppy.
Yeah. The carrots in this is...
It's not carrots.
That's
our
yellow pepper.
That orange pepper.
Yeah, lunchbox pepper.
Yeah. That's
that
our
was
pepper, our onions, our squash, beans, fish, Danny corn.
Wow.
Salt and pepper's about the only thing, and we fried it in our lard. Salt and pepper's about the only thing that wasn't ours.
You can't beat that. That is some kind of good.